Well, let's bring in the panel. Sky News Outsiders co-host, Herald Sun columnist Rita Panahi in wonderful Melbourne, and Melbourne City Councillor Nick Rees, both of them here with me tonight. I'm going to start, let's go Queensland, in the middle of the campaign. See, this guy's like a niggling back pain, it just won't go away. The Deputy Premier of Queensland, I call him the Ken doll, Stephen Miles. He wants to fight sort of every day with a Premier or a rival in New South Wales. Press conferences, day after day, he's having a crack. On Monday, he had this to say at Scott Morrison.
In his extraordinary attack on me, I understand he said that I should stick to my day job. Well, this is my day job, delivering more and better health services for Queenslanders, and I'll keep doing it.
He's not the sharpest tool in the box, is he, Rita?
He's just got that vacant stare happening. I just can't take him seriously. He made an absolute goose of himself only a week ago when Donald Trump announced that he had COVID, and he tweeted like he was a 17-year-old first-year arts student. Really, it was quite embarrassing for someone of his position. And now this nonsense. I mean, obviously he thinks it must work with his electorate. Perhaps they respond to this sort of idiotic pandering, but I think most adults look at him and go, how are you, Deputy Premier?
Yeah, I mean, Rita's right, Nick, because every party's got to have an attack dog. You know, you've got to have an attack dog to save the leader from, you know, picking up that sort of scar tissue. But, I mean, seriously, he's not an attack dog.
Well, I mean, I'm going to ignore the personal slurs you've been making against the man and just make a political observation that I don't actually think it's a particularly good look for Prime Ministers like Scott Morrison to be coming up from Canberra and having a crack at local politicians in the way Scott Morrison has been doing against Stephen Miles. I think most Queenslanders take issue with Polly's coming up from Canberra and doing that, and particularly when there's revelations like there's been today about Deb Frecklington and Scott Morrison clearly having an election plan around opening up Queensland borders, where they really should be having a plan about keeping Queenslanders safe.
Nicholas, you didn't seem to have much trouble when Bill Shorten went up to Queensland in his Akubra and made a goose of himself. That was all fine, but the Prime Minister's not allowed to pass comment?
Politicians always make gooses of themselves. There's nothing unusual about that. I just think Canberra politicians need to be very wary about going after Queenslanders. I don't think Queenslanders respond well to that.
Yeah, but I think Queenslanders are, you know, if you've read as many polls as I have, you know Queenslanders like the cut of Scott Morrison's jib a hell of a lot more than they like Anthony Albanese.
Oh, look, I think Scott Morrison has been rallying around the flag this year as Scott Morrison has been responding to COVID-19. So I don't know that you can base, you know, polls at the moment as being necessarily what the world's going to look like in 6 months from now and as we get closer to an election.
Rita, you know, yes, if there's corruption, the Premier in New South Wales has to go. But with respect to Nick's former boss, Gillard, and that dropkick hairdresser that she used to go out with, what is it with smart political women and these deadbeat boyfriends?
It is, yeah, it's surprising. But then you look at her situation, and a woman of her profile, where's she going to meet somebody? She's not exactly going to go and join eHarmony, is she? The pool of prospective dates is very small, I would imagine, in her world if you're a powerful woman like that. So I do feel for her that she's got entangled with this idiot, and if he drags her down, I mean, because her conduct throughout this crisis after the Ruby Princess debacle has been exemplary. She has done more than any other politician, I would argue, to keep this country afloat, reopening the biggest economy in the country, keeping her citizens safe while ensuring that livelihoods aren't being needlessly destroyed. So if she ends up losing her job before Dan Andrews, I think there's something terribly wrong.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I ran over time with an earlier interview. I've got to leave it there, Nick. I'll give you the first word next week. Rita Panahi, Nick Rees, thank you for your time.